Okay, hello everyone. What a day. What a day. Markets are just on fire. The portfolios were up enormously today. We ended the day up cumulatively since inception 45 days ago. We ended up in the growth portfolio up 41.5%, in the growth levered up 53.9% now. In the medium risk, even the medium risk here is up 30.7%. While holding like 16% cash. Yeah, it's just been wild. So yeah, the thesis just continues to play out for us day by day. We're really due for some give back by the same token, but that's not a good enough reason for me to sell, of course. A lot of what we're seeing, I think, is just coming off the floor, right? A lot of these stocks were really beaten down, and they're just sort of forming a base and potentially a base for new rallies. So yeah, I don't see a need to sell much here. I mean, it sounds ridiculous given how much they're up, but I don't feel like we're at a profit taking phase yet. So no real action on my part in the last 2 days here, I don't think. Actually, sorry, that's not true. I did buy some Tesla this morning. Well, I bought it personally this morning, and through Substack there, when it was like flat on the morning. And then by the time I actually did it on video for YouTube here, I think it was up 4.7%. So a bit annoying for the portfolios on YouTube, but anyway, yeah, so Tesla new position, which I'll talk about next time. Yeah, I think we're building a base for a move up. This is very consistent with the last video I did. I mean, if you haven't watched it, do watch it. I think it's really important. It's the one where I think I said the recession is upon us or something, and how to cash in. Well, recession is a scary word, but that doesn't necessarily mean markets are going lower. And boy, have we seen that in the last 2 days since I did that video. So yeah, it's worth a watch if you have a chance. So other news, interestingly, EOS after hours today announced it's doing a stock offering for 40 million stock and warrants. I don't love that. It's diluting down here at very low valuations with stock and then giving out warrants on top of that. It just frustrates me. I wish they could do something, with a bit of debt, some sort of financing. So yeah, not a huge fan of that, unfortunately. But theoretically, that should get them to having their line one up and running if they get the full 40 million. So positives and negatives, I suppose. Market didn't like it as I would expect. I think it was down 22% last time I looked. In any case, yeah, so here today I'm just basically going over the recent trades I've done. I've done a fair number, nothing particularly material though. No, you're not gonna watch the rest of the video. But no, honestly, nothing particularly material. I just want to, for completeness, I want to post it here. And it's a bit stale in that some of these trades, or most of these trades, were done on December 6th, well ahead of this rally. One of them actually didn't even work out in that I bought something that actually went down over the last 2 days, which is hard to believe. But anyway, and yeah, so if you do want quicker information on this front, like for example the Tesla trade I was doing this morning, or the trades that I'm about to talk about now, when I did them on December 6th. I put them out through Substack. So if you do want to kind of get them earlier, just subscribe to the Substack there, and then you get all the notifications. And it's just it's a discussion forum as well. And I also post a bit more content there too. I mean, no pressure, but also I do also post some of them on Twitter. It's just not as complete on Twitter, obviously. It's sort of an afterthought. But yeah, let's dive into this, and I'll go through the trades that have been done recently, and yeah, you can see the minor changes that were made.
I don't want to answer your question about the recession.
Space was a very small exposure. It is up currently 22% from inception, up 10% today after being down 16% when Richard Branson said he's no longer investing in his own space company. I just don't like the lack of conviction that he's showing on this. I already considered it a junk company, and the fact that he's not even willing to support it is worrisome. So I'm going to be quite happy just taking the 22%. We'll roll all of our space exposure into Rocket Lab. Rocket Lab had a failed launch recently, which is not ideal because, when you're looking at whether you want to use this company over SpaceX, for example, you're looking at the probability of success, and a failed launch is not good, obviously, in that regard. So not great, but they are the only other player really at this point other than SpaceX. And so, I think if SpaceX ever IPOs, it's going to create a lot of excitement in this industry. And this industry is very small, so that basically means Rocket Lab. it is down a lot over the last 2 years. The valuation is, I would say, reasonable at this point. It's still not cheap, but again, there's no other way to get exposure to this sort of theme in the market. So we'll sell space due to Richard Branson's lack of conviction. Also, space tourism, I'm just not so sure about it. I mean, yeah, probably in time. But I mean, again, are Virgin Galactic, are they going to be the ones that you want to go with? I think I'd rather go with SpaceX if I'm going to space. I don't necessarily trust these guys. Sorry, Virgin Galactic. Rocket Lab will roll the 0.91 into this and make this a larger position. And then the other thing I'm going to do is, out of our remaining treasury bills, which we have a fair bit of still, I am going to spend a little bit more of that on STEM, of course, because STEM's only a 1% position here. It has run up a lot lately, but in this portfolio, it's actually still down overall, which is surprising. But anyway, we'll double this position fully. In fact, we'll make it around 2%. So this is going to become a large position, around 3.74% or thereabouts. Here are our current values. So currently up 14.7. This is the levered number, which we care about because this is the point of this portfolio. This is the unlevered number. And yeah, so we'll add some trades here and get that done. And yeah, that's all. Caribou, the biotechs today are really running. Up 12% for Recursion, 7% for Caribou, Accelera up 8%. Okay, going through this just a moment ago, I noticed that something is a bit weird with Recursion, because if you look at the average price and the current price, it should actually be up a fair bit. And it's not. So I clicked on the market value calculation, and it's a hard entered number from, I guess, day one. For some reason, I was doing this calculation. So this is an easy fix because it's just the same formula as everything else, and every other formula is correct, and it's the way it's supposed to be. So it's just a matter of, I mean, I could pull the formula down, but what it is it's exactly, it's giving me a suggestion here. It's the current price times the number of units, and that's 37 whatever. So that's actually a decent little profit there, about 30 or 40%, as per the difference between the average cost and the market value. So anyway, that's a good fix. Gives us a whopping $900 more than we had in our portfolio, but that is the only error. I'm just looking through the formulas here. They're all proper formulas. So slight error there, understating our return ever so slightly. While I'm in here, C Limited has just been so out of favor. It's getting so cheap by at least C Limited standards. It's a decent sized position already for sure, but by the same token, I just don't see a lot more risk here. We're down 15% on it. It's so cheap. It's due for rebound. It is also being harmed, I think, by the China connection, the China exposure. You look at BABA or JDE.com, they are not performing well. And that will give us a little bit of China exposure, or that region, with C being a little bit more broad. All right, today is all about the speculative portfolio. We're getting rid of some of the cash here because, again, we've been carrying a lot of cash, and this is supposed to be the speculative portfolio, the levered one, which, it is levered, and we are benefiting slightly from, more than slightly, considering this is treasury bonds that we've bought. They're up almost 8%. Regardless, this isn't helping to the same degree as these things are, right? Like 20, 50, 30, 40, blah, blah, blah. So it's time to actually start putting some of this leverage to work. So today I'm going to do a bunch of different trades here, which I will now discuss. Okay, and the last one I'm going to do, we have QuantumScape in here, which I consider kind of a garbagey company, but it's actually up a bit. Again, largely just sort of on the interest rate pivot. Don't love it. We'll get rid of it at some point. But in keeping with sort of the low quality but tag along type positions, I consider, for example, ENVX to be a very real battery company. Amprius is a competitor, you could say, to ENVX. Amprius, I do not believe is going to scale, or it may not even have the success at all that ENVX does. But I think, on the back of ENVX's success, on the back of sort of the theme of better batteries and this shift to silicone-based batteries, I think Amprius could sort of ride the tailwinds, essentially. So what I'll do is I'll add a similar size position of Amprius here. Let's start with 0.7% on this one. So we'll keep QuantumScape for now. We'll add Amprius AMPX 0.7%, and again, out of cash, or out of the treasury bills, I should say. Nothing to short yet, by the way. You know, markets, I think, still has legs. Anyway, we'll keep an eye on it. If it gets up to like $50 or so, you know, somewhere up in here, we'd probably look to short it. So everything we're doing, AMPX. So AMPX, we're going to take that price, 413. The next one is, we're buying a bit of STEM, I said. So at 32150, we're buying some more Rocket Lab. So 4555. What else did I just talk about? C Limited. And we'll be buying some C Limited at 3866. And then also I said we are selling our our space. The space is up 10%, so we'll be selling at 210.50. Consider that done. All right, and the last thing to do here in the speculative portfolio is to increase the weight of EOS. We're going to continue to use up this cash because we've got, well, bonds, but cash-like securities, which we're paying for leverage for here. And so we want to, there's a leverage cost, to, put this to higher and better use, really. This is a speculative portfolio. The medium risk portfolio can have some fixed income for sure, but this one, it needs to be used up. So provided that we think we're in a bullish environment. If we were not, I would pull back to cash or treasuries if it was, the market was looking ugly, or recession was starting to put pressure on the market. We don't really want to be levered on the way down. So EOS, we're going to add another 1.5%. So this will actually become our largest position in the speculative portfolio. It could get a bit wild here in the next week or so. On the 12th, the company has a outside of regular quarterly earnings reports and conference calls, they have a scheduled meeting which they plan to, we think, talk about financing, or how they plan to get that line one up and running. So we'll add a little bit more of this. Again, could get rough. You know, if they don't say the right thing, this could be a 70-cent stock in the next while here. But I think the risk reward makes a lot of sense. So I'm happy to add here. We'll add, let's call it 1.25%. And then while we're at it, we'll add 1% to ENVX because, again, we have quite a bit of cash to use up. So we can redistribute later to higher and better use if I have better ideas. And yeah, perfect. That's where we'll go today.